Hello, beautiful children. How are you doing today? We have a new lesson on high frequency words. Are you excited? The date is 6th April 2020 and our objectives for today's lesson are to determine the meaning of high frequency words, to understand usage of high frequency words in meaningful sentences, to identify the main idea in a text, and to identify the supporting details in a given text. My favorite time, the warm-up time. Yes, and what do we have today? We have a sorting activity. We have a big basket here, and we're going to put it to good use. Alright? Now, do you remember the words that we took last week? The high frequency words? We had words like clubhouse, and we had wanted, and we had explore, truest, adventures, and greatest. Yes. Now let's see if you remember what it means, okay? Now each sentence will tell you something about the meaning of these words. So as we read, if you think it's true, if it's correct, we are keeping it, and then if it's incorrect, we're gonna toss it here in the basket. Okay? Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Let's read number 1. When you wonder, you think about something. Is it true or false? When you're wondering, you think about something. True, of course. Okay, we're going to keep this one. Alright, let's read the next sentence. Clubhouse is a place for higher education. Now, is clubhouse a place that you go after school, like you go to a university or a college? Is this a place you go to for higher education? Nah, definitely not. So we're gonna toss it. Yes, and there it disappears. Alright, let's read the next one. To explore means to discover some place. So when you go exploring, aren't you discovering places, something new, finding out more about it? Or is it incorrect? Nah, I think it's correct. What do you think? Alright, let's try the next statement. Only your truest friends will betray you. Now, is that true? If your friend is true to you, will they betray you? Will they betray your trust? No, true friends don't do that. So this is incorrect. Off it goes. Let's read the next statement. Being the greatest means being the best. Now, is that true or false? If I say somebody is the greatest basketball player, doesn't it mean that they're the best basketball player? Or they're just okay? No, I think this is a true statement. Alright, so we're gonna keep it. What about this? Adventures are extremely boring. Is that true? Are adventures boring? Or are adventures exciting little experiences? What are they? Do you remember? Let's see if it's true or false. There it goes. It was incorrect. So we keep the true statements. You did a good job. Alright. The high frequency words are from our lesson, The Signmaker's Assistant. Now this is a very interesting story. You're going to love it. I really want you to try and read this out. Okay? And let's go through a high frequency word list here. The first word is afternoon. Afternoon. Next one, important. Important. The next, blame. Blame. Townspeople. Townspeople. Signmaker. Signmaker. Idea. Idea. Do you see Signmaker here? Signmaker's assistant. Signmaker. Alright, let's move on. The first word on our list was afternoon. Now, what time is afternoon? It's the part of the day between morning and evening. So the time between morning and evening is called afternoon. This is the time that you head home. Do you know? After 1 o'clock when you all leave school and go back home, that's the time, afternoon. Look at the sentence. I went for football practice today afternoon. I went for football practice today afternoon. So this is also the best time for all your fun activities. Like you see in the first image, they're going out on a nice stroll because it's a nice sunny afternoon. And here you have all the times in the day. You have morning, sunrise, and then you have afternoon right here. And here you have late evening, and then here there's nighttime, time to sleep. Now, afternoon is also the time when you go back home and you have afternoon tea, you have delicious treats with it to go. So, the meaning of afternoon is the time between morning and evening. The next one is important, and yes, it's an important word too. Alright, what does it mean? Something that has a lot of value or meaning. It means that it probably costs a lot. Now, that is in terms of material value, but also maybe it holds a lot of meaning to us. It means a lot to us. Like your mom and dad's hugs and kisses, they mean a lot to you. Whenever they come and talk to us, it means a lot to us because it's important to you that mommy and daddy are always there for you, right? Next, look at the sentence. Taking care of our health is really important. Yes, it's really important to stay healthy, to eat well, and to go to bed on time. Now, that is taking care of your health, and it's very, very important. It holds a lot of value to us. Look at this notice here, the sign which shows washing hands, and it says important notice. You know, at this time, this is something that's really, really important. Please sanitize your hands. Clean them, use a sanitizer, but keep yourself germ-free. At times we have things to do and they're really important and we forget. So we pin those things on the wall, write a little note and say it's important that we do this. Maybe about assignments or quizzes, we tag those things and say these are important for us. And also, online safety is really, really important. Zip it, block it, flag it. Blame, that's the next word on our list. Blame. Now look at the images. Even if I don't tell you what's the meaning, look at the pictures. What do you think is being shown here? You see the finger constantly being pointed out, which makes the other person feel like, oh my God, I messed up. So here there's a man who's saying, you really messed up. You made a big mistake. So to hold someone responsible for something wrong, when you blame someone, you hold that person responsible for a mistake. The students blame the new boy for messing up the classroom. Now it does happen sometimes. We blame the person that we don't know much about. So if there's a new boy in the class, there's a new child in the class, you don't really know them, so you kind of think that if something's wrong, maybe they are responsible for it, and that's really not a nice thing to do. So when people get blamed, look at this girl, when she's getting blamed from all corners, she's feeling terrible. And yeah, the boy is saying, you did it, you are to be blamed, you are responsible for something wrong. The next word is townspeople. Townspeople. The people who live in a town. Now, all the people who live in one particular town are known as the townspeople, the people who reside there. Sentence, the townspeople had a big celebration every year. Now, town is not like a city, it's a smaller place, and the people are a tight-knit community. They know each other and they gather together for celebrations and any sort of gatherings. They know everybody around the town. Like you see here, the little town picture, there is a doctor here, there is a school here. Everybody knows each other very well in a town. They all make up the town's people. Signmaker. Now this is from our story, the title of a story, Signmaker. Now who's a sign maker? What is the word made out of? It's made of the word sign and maker. So sign is a sign like this or a sign like this. You put up an important notice and you want everybody to look at it. That's a sign, alright? A person who makes these signs using words or pictures to give information, that person is known as a sign maker. Look at the sentence. The sign maker puts up important signs around the city. So here you see there's a sign maker and he's making signs, and here's a sign maker. He's going to write up something important here, maybe to show directions. And here there's a man showing the stop sign which says danger, don't go ahead. So a sign maker does the job of making these signs, and sometimes they use pictures and sometimes they use words. Idea. The moment you think idea, you see the light bulb, because it's like some bright idea creeped up into your head, a thought or a plan for a course of action. So sometimes we want, maybe it's a project and you're thinking about what am I going to be doing for my science project, and suddenly you have a bright idea and you think, oh wow, why don't I design Science projects are a lot of fun, aren't they? Now look at the sentence. I have a great idea for my sister's birthday party. Sometimes you want to have a good party for your sister or your brother, for your mom or dad, and then you are stuck on with ideas. You think, what am I going to give them as a gift, or what should be the theme of the party? So this person has a good idea for the birthday party. Look at this. As I said, most of the time when you think of idea, you see a light bulb, like something that suddenly illuminates in your mind. And here's the scientist who has a great idea, probably for some good for the entire world. And scientists usually make such great discoveries and they help solve problems, so they have good ideas. Now let's go on to our notebook page 434. And Moo is going to help us throughout this exercise. Right? Now let's read the list words. These are the same words that we just discussed. Afternoon, the time between morning and evening. Blame, when you hold someone responsible for an action. Idea, a thought for a possible plan for a course of action. Important, something that holds a lot of value. Signmaker, a person who makes signs like this sign here, welcome home it says. And townspeople, the people who live in a town. What are we going to do here? We're going to pick a word from the box to finish the sentence. Write the word on the line, alright? So we're going to pick words here and see what fits where. Number 1, an dash visitor was coming to town. An, it starts with an. That gives you a hint that the next word is going to begin with a vowel sound, right? So let's think about what word will come here. An dash visitor was coming to town. Now all these people are gathered for him, so he must be, what do you think? Second one, all the dash met together. All the who? People in the town, what do you call them? Next, they came up with an. They came up with an what? Again, it has to start with a vowel sound. Alright? Think about the word. Next, number 4. They told the dash what to write. They told who what to write and where to write. Next, that dash, he held up his sign. It is referring to a time of day. What time of day? That dash, he held up his sign. No one could dash him for it. It's a very nice sign, so no one could do what him for it. Think about the answer. Alright, let's go ahead and check the answers in the answer key. Did you get all of them right? You did? Amazing job. Alright, now we're done with the high frequency words lesson and we are going to hop on to the next section, that is our lesson on main ideas and details. Are you ready for it? Let's go. Oh wow, here's a winter scene. You have snowflakes, you have a very friendly looking snowman, and there's a little story about him. Let's read it. I am a friendly snowman. I am the most important part of my story. I am made of my little snowflake buddies. They help and support me through the long cold winter. Do you enjoy making snowmen too? Do you? Do you enjoy making snowmen like this? Especially friendly ones with a big carrot nose? Alright, let's think about our story. Now our entire story is talking about who? It's talking about our friendly snowman. So, what is the most important part of the story? It is the snowman. So a snowman is the main idea. He's the main idea of our story. The whole text talks about him. And what did he say? Who helps him out? Who supports him? His little snowflake buddies. The snowflakes are very helpful and they help and support him throughout the text. So they are the supporting details. Yes, you got that right. Now how do we find the main idea? What do you do if you want to find the main idea in a text or a story? First, you look at the title and pictures. Whenever we're starting a new story in class, what do? We look at the title because it gives you a hint about what's to follow. And we look at the pictures. And the pictures are like clues. And if you're a good detective, you will know what's going to happen in the story. Next, we find out what the text is mostly about. Now, throughout the text, sometimes they'll talk about a whole lot of things, but mostly, what does it talk about? That gives you a hint about the main idea. At times, the main idea is in the first or the second paragraph. Alright, it falls in the first or the second paragraph. So that's again a good place for us to look for the main idea. Now look at this big juicy burger. What do you see here? It says the buns, the burger buns, are the main idea. And then all the fillings, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the cheese, the patties, all of them are the details. They are the details, the juicy bits which make the whole burger interesting. But if we don't have any burger buns, then we don't have the main idea and all of them will fall off, right? So you need a main idea and then you need to add in some spice with the details. Now let's go to our Reading Street page 328. Okay, we're going to use what you learned about identifying the main idea and we're going to follow this organizer as you read the biggest signs. So we're going to be doing some reading. The title is The Biggest Signs. Now remember the first point about how to find the main idea? You look at the title. So what does the title say? The biggest signs. So this text is going to be about big signs. Yes. Then we organize our ideas. What the story is all about. How do we find out? We read the first paragraph and see what it tells you. Read the second and the third and the fourth and see what each one is trying to tell you about. Now that will be our main idea. Now let's come, moves right back here on a spot, waiting to help us through the reading. Alright, let's read this. The biggest signs. You've probably seen them next to a road. Maybe you've seen one on top of a building. They are huge signs that tell you where to stop, where to shop, or what to eat. These have been around for a long time. Now, what is the first paragraph talking about? It's trying to connect to you by starting off by saying you've probably seen them. So it's making you immediately a part of the text by saying you've probably seen them next to a road. Maybe you've seen one on top of a building. They are huge signs and they tell you where to shop or what to eat. These have been around for a long time. It says they've always been around since ages. And don't you remember the McDonald's sign, the KFC, the one that says barber, the one that says there's a huge supermarket? Now all these are big signs. In the United States, the first billboards were made more than 100 years ago. In the United States, the first billboards were made more than 100 years ago, so that's like really ancient. The first big signs were circus signs. They told people when the circus was coming. The signs had pictures of clowns and other acts. So they even used pictures in their signs to try and tell the people what they are going to expect in the circus. Now come back to the first paragraph and tell me, what was the main idea here? You heard what it said about that you've seen it, you've seen they're on top of buildings, and they tell you about where to shop and eat, and they say that these have been around for a long time. So what's the main idea there? These have been around for a long time. So the sentence is trying to tell them that this has been always there, you've always seen it. Next one talks about that in the United States the billboards were made, and since again the same idea has been repeated, the same main idea that they have been around for a long time. Okay, so these are the supporting details that go and match up to the one before. Next, come down to paragraph 3. Soon, many companies were using billboards. So, what were many companies using? They started using these big boards. That is the big signs. They're called billboards. They also started adding lights to billboards. Now, why would they add lights to billboards? Why? Because at night time you can't see them, right? Now, people could see those big signs at night. Even at the night, you could see because they started adding the lights. This was, again, another bright idea. Many billboards were put up next to highways because people were driving more. So they thought, why not put them in places where more people are likely to see them? Right? Now, what's the main idea of this? So did you figure out by now what is the main idea of this section? Did you figure out what's there in this paragraph? First, they start by telling us that the companies were using the billboards, then they tell you how they add the lights, and then they put it on the highways. But the most important part of this paragraph is they tell us that companies started using the billboards. So that is our main idea. Yes, and then these are the details, the lights on the billboards, putting it up in the highways. These are the supporting details. Now let's read the last paragraph. Today some billboards have parts that move. Yes, you see those big billboards which have movable parts. Some even have screens that show short movies. Think about billboards that you have seen. Alright, so it leaves us with a thought to wonder about. Think about the billboards that you've seen, so it wants us to think more about it. So this whole paragraph is trying to get us in that mood to keep on pondering about it. So what's the main idea? Think about billboards that you have seen. Good. Now do you realize that you have just learned how to find the main idea in each part of the text, in each paragraph? All you do is you try to find out what most of the sentences are talking about. What is the big idea? And then that's your main idea. And the rest of the sentences are the supporting details. Alright, let's apply those skills here and see how good we are at this. Read the story, follow the directions. You are in notebook page 435. Let's read the story. Annie was going to wear a costume in a parade. She would look like a bunch of grapes. Annie's mom wrapped a strong brown ribbon around Annie's shirt. Wrapped. Remember the silent consonant W? I said wrapped without the W sound. Next, she attached 8 purple balloons to the ribbon. These were the grapes, so she probably looks like something like this. Soon Annie and her mom were off to the parade. When Annie got out of the car, one of the balloons popped. Then on her way to the float, a little dog jumped up and bit 2 balloons. My, that must be traumatic. 2 more pops. After that, a boy bumped into Annie. 3 pops. Finally, Annie climbed onto the float and sat down. Pop, pop. That was the last of the balloons. All that was left of Annie's costume was the brown ribbon. How do you think she feels right now? Like she came out all looking grand with nice purple balloons, and now everything's been lost and she just has the brown ribbon. She must be feeling sad and dejected, right? Let's see. You have a new costume, her mom laughed. Now you're a grape wine. Annie laughed too. Sometimes laughing is the best thing to do when things go wrong. So you see, the whole story is talking about how a very nice day starts going bad by something or the other going wrong, but finally at the end of the day, mommy and daughter both realize that sometimes when things go wrong, you just laugh it out and forget about it. Enjoy the day, right? So mostly it's talking about this moral. Now let's see. What is the first question? Circle the answer below that tells what the story is about. So what is the story about? Is it about Annie's costume? Is it about a parade's float? Or about the purple balloons? Circle the answer. Next, write a sentence from the story that tells the main idea. I want you to find the main idea in this entire story. What does the whole story make you realize? Okay? Sometimes the moral of the story is also the main idea. Think about it. Then cross-check all your answers right here, okay? Now, these activities are easy peasy lemon squeezy, okay? No fuss at all. First, you go to your notebook page and do 473. It's pretty simple. Then, I want you to use any 3 high-frequency words to write a short story. I love the stories you wrote last week, and I want nice and creative stories this week too, because I enjoy reading your stories. Then I want you to watch the assigned video. It's there right there. The link is on the next slide. Click on the link to watch this useful video. It's really interesting. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. have a beautiful, blessed day. Okay? I want you all to stay safe. Thanks for watching the video. Any questions? And you can send me a message on Class Sarah. And we're going to meet again with another lesson.